Well, hey guys, welcome to Extra with LifePoint. We're so glad that you're joining us today and you listen every single week. We appreciate you so much. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'm joined today by my good friend, Lance. Lance, good to see you.
I like that you say it in faith. They listen every week. No exceptions.
Yeah.
No breaks. Every week. Committed audience.
Yeah,
I like that.
We got an audience, bro. We're like the number one Christian podcast.
I really like that.
You didn't know that.
Well, it's good to know. No pressure.
Here you are. But today, your sermon focused a lot on forgiveness, which is super fun sermon to preach to people.
It can be. Yeah.
But some people, they might be just hopping on right now. So I want to talk a little bit to start. When someone wrongs you personally, sorry to get super personal, but when someone wrongs you personally, what's your just natural reaction to it?
Petty sarcasm. It's usually my go-to. I get pretty petty.
Yeah.
Make gestures of sarcasm quite a bit would be my lane. I strangely enough for me, and this is where I feel maybe it's a simpler topic for me to talk about. Mm-hmm. I don't usually hold grudges that hard. No. I think I'm pretty quick to forgive. It's a temperament thing.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty quick to move on and forgive.
Yeah. Has it always been like that? Or
it has been. Yeah. I think that's a lot for me. What about you?
So for me, I would say similarly, like I don't really hold grudges, but if I do with somebody, my tendency is to shut down around those people. I kind of just don't even engage. I kind of just ignore them or breeze past it. Yeah, cold shoulder, 100%. And yeah, that ain't healthy. That's not good.
No, it can't be.
And so you in your sermon talked a lot about this tension that there is between justice and grace.
Yes.
And that's a tough tension. Because for a lot of us, what we want to do is we want to have justice. We want that person did wrong by me.
Yeah.
I want to get even. It's just our world. It's our culture.
Yep.
Can you unpack that a little bit just from like the biblical point of view of kind of where, that we find that in scripture, and then maybe just tendencies that you see with people, but then there's that wrestle there, that tension, and how can people navigate that in their regular relationships?
Well, I think they both have their place, right? Grace and justice. Grace feels like the great thing, especially if we're receiving it. Yeah. We're always for grace. I'm always for grace. Usually when I'm extending it, it's more challenging and I become a little bit more justice focused. Mm-hmm. Weirdly enough, they both do have a place. God is a God of grace and a God of justice.
Yeah.
I don't think God is an unjust God.
Yep.
I think, fortunately for us, he leads with grace, which is good news, and encourages us to probably do the same in our relationships.
Yep.
How we navigate that can be really important. Justice feels right. Honestly, it feels good in the moment. Mm-hmm. It feels really good if you can get back or you can get even. I heard it said once, though, this was so good, is why would you want to get even with someone you don't even like? Why would you want to get even or be like someone you don't even like? They did something wrong to you. Yep. You don't respect that person. You don't want to be like them. Why would you want to get even with them? Yep. You've put yourself in the wrong position. And so Jesus, through the parable we talked about today, unpacks a different way to approach the whole philosophy of forgiveness. And really as an extension of grace and forgiveness we've been given in light of the justice that could be there.
Yeah. And something like a question that comes to mind when I think of these two different tensions between justice and grace, do you ever see like an unhealthy bent towards one direction or the other? Maybe a person is super high on justice and like that's all that they do and it might be unhealthy. And I think that that's the one that we notice the most. But maybe like, can somebody be unhealthy when it's comes to like, I'm just grace-filled and everything's fine, I'm good, everything's great? Like, do you see that? And like a lot of people, when they're trying to like navigate these things, like they're actually not getting closure through it or.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a difference between grace and forgetting. I think forgiveness and forgetting are two different things. Yeah. We sometimes conflate the two, and people who are more disposed towards grace or just letting the water roll off their back or easygoing personality types, unfortunately, attract people who like to take advantage of people like that.
Yep.
And so you get to this place where you create really complicated, complex, and unhealthy, maybe even unwise relationships between people because you're not creating a healthy environment to have discourse anymore. Yep. You haven't worked through anything, you've just kind of forgotten it or turned a cold shoulder. You might be familiar with that. Towards inappropriate behavior. But the more you can press through it, pause. Remember in the very beginning, Jesus said the goal of all this, the goal we bring up conflict, all that stuff, is to win the relationship back. And whether the other person knows it or not, that they've been offended, the relationship isn't back.
Yep.
There's something missing. You haven't
Yep.
won it back. You've just kind of ignored it. You've swept it under the rug.
Yeah.
So having an opportunity to win the relationship back through clarity, can be the kindest thing that we do.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
kindest thing that we do.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so now closing with this, people might have, sat in these seats this morning and they're thinking, instantly when you're talking about forgiveness, that person comes to their mind. Like
Yes.
that one person where it's just like,
Yeah.
man, that's my one. I know
You
that I
start.
should.
What's their name? Go ahead. Oh, not
Rusty.
here.
Rusty.
Maybe, yeah. Fair enough.
He'll be back in a couple of days. It's
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, maybe they have somebody in their head that's just like, I know I need to do this week.
Yep.
What are some steps maybe that they can walk into this with this week?
I think the first thing you do is take it up between you and God. I think just start there, to start the process, start the conversation with God, inform my words. I'm emotionally motivated. Usually when it comes to somebody who's wronged us, tons of emotions get wrapped into that. When we let our emotions take the driver's seat, we start to say things that can be counterproductive.
Yep.
And so allowing that emotion to process, take it to God, say, hey, I'm frustrated, I'm bitter, I'm angry, I want to go full Carrie Underwood on him, I want to slash a tire, I want to get a Louisville Slugger, take both headlights, I want to do those things.
Yep.
But God, where do you have me in the process? What would you think is wise? What's the discerning thing to do? And it's interesting, throughout the Bible, I think God honors people's requests for wisdom. And so if we inquire for wisdom, okay, God, how do I navigate this in a really wise ways? Because my emotions aren't going to lead me there.
Right.
I think it's a great place to start.
Yep.
And then don't stop until you've actually had a conversation with the person. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah. That's good. Because I think a lot of people's natural bent is, and this is good because we always talk in church about community and how it's great to have your small group, your people that you talk with, but pretty soon that can almost turn into just a lot of gossip.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the issue, but going to God first, I think that's really good. But it's also picking, like, if you're going to take advice from people, picking the right people to sit at your table and to be able to bring in on that space is also something I think that's super important.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, this was a great podcast. I'm
The best.
always just so
I'd say the best episode you've
filled
ever
with
had.
energy at the end of a Sunday. And we're just so glad that you were able to join us today, and always appreciate you coming and speaking with us. So
Glad to be here.
yeah. Well, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with all of our Extra with LifePoint episodes.